everybody, it's Kathy Champion and welcome back to my craft room. I'm so happy to have y'all with me today, and as you can see I have some products here on my desk, and I'm finding that it's much easier for me to bring you a video if I go ahead and try to get most of my stuff gathered together before I start. So what we're going to do today is, my inspiration actually came from this die. Now, I carry this die in my store, and it's an ornate tree, and if you look at it, you have little dots, and I don't know if you can see those. See those little dots? That will leave a little impression in the die, so they're like little indentations when you run this through the die machine. So this is such a cute piece, and what I thought I wanted to do, this actually cuts the tree out where it's inset into your piece of cardstock, so it's not like it cuts the tree out, and you'll see what I mean when we cut this. But before we start cutting, I do have a card base, and I did this beautiful cabbage green, and this is Brutus Monroe, and it is 8.5 by 11 by 5.5, folded at 4 1/4. So that's going to be our card base. I also have a piece of scrap that I'm going to use for some grass, and I've got these dies right here. These are Gina, and they're called grass tuft dies, and this will allow us to make some grass to go around our tree, and we're going to put some bunnies in it. So I thought these little bunnies, and this is May's Mr. Big Ears 2.0, and I thought this would be cute. It has a chick. We also have some little Easter eggs, and I thought that was just really super cute. I'm loving the bunny in the basket, so he may be sitting out in the grass with the tree to the background. I think that'd be super cute. So anyway, let's go ahead and lay all of our pieces over, kind of out of our way. I probably should lay everything over here because I'm going to need to use my die machine. So let me kind of rearrange my stuff a little bit, get everything to my right, and let's see if we can go ahead and get started. These are my inks. I want to do a sky, so I picked tumbled glass and broken china, and I have my little makeup brush that I use for blending. I love these for blending. You can get those on Amazon. I'll see if I can find them, and I'll leave a link below this video so that you can go and look them up, as well as this die. This die is in my store, so if you're interested in this, you can go to my store at randomactsofcrafting.com and pick that up. So before we go any further, let's go ahead and cut this piece down. And I know that I want it to live on the front of my card base, so I'm going to need a 4-inch piece by 5 1/4. So this will be the piece we're going to cut our tree out of. But before we do it, we're going to prep this, because you know what? I want to do a couple of things before we do the actual tree. And those things are going to be doing our ink blending. So I'm going to go ahead and grab, and I'm going to start with the tumbled glass first because it's a lighter color. And I'm going to just load my brush up, and I'm just going to come outside like this and just start working that blue in. And you know what, it looks like I've got another color that's bleeding into that. Let me see if I can clean my brush really good. I might have used a different color the last time and maybe didn't get all the color out. This is a good time to use a scrap piece of paper and make sure that your blue is showing blue. Yeah, that's better. Much better. Doesn't look as muddy. Alright, I'm going to just turn it over because this piece is going to be down. Nobody's going to see it. And we're going to try this again. And I'm not going to contaminate my ink, so I'm going to use my microfiber cloth, and I'm just going to clean this up so that I don't get any of that bleed over of that wrong color. So here we go. We're going to go right here, and we're going to start with the blue. That looks much better. Should have checked that out before I did it. I love the way these brushes blend your inks. It is just so soft, so delicate. And if you don't have these, you can use the little sponges. You know, y'all see me use these. And they work good. It's just sometimes I like to get, you know, you have these and you put your little sponge on the end of it and you dab and you can twirl your ink around. You can use these or you can use a brush, whatever your preference is. And I've done it both ways. So, you know, the old cliche, use what you got. So I'm going to come down on the side a little bit. I'm going to blend this in. I'm going to pick up a little bit more of this ink off of my glass mat. And if you don't have a glass mat, you can take a piece of cardstock and stick it inside of a gallon Ziploc bag and make your own little distress station. But I have this We Are Memory Keepers glass mat that works really good for what I'm doing here. So that looks pretty good. Now I'm going to come in with a little bit, I get that blended out right there a little bit more. Okay, so we're going to put our tumbled glass away, and we're going to move over to the broken china, which is a darker blue, as you can see. So since I've already got blue, I'm just going to go and grab some of that, and I'm just going to come in around the edges. Isn't that pretty? I'm just going to blend that into the lighter. Be careful because see what I just did? I bent my cardstock, but I'm going to show y'all how to fix that too. I'm going to turn the laminator on. Turn that on and let it be warming up while I finish this. Alright, I'm going to lay that to the side. I'm going to put this up, and I am going to attempt to really clean this brush out. Yeah, you can use makeup cleaner to clean your brushes. I'm going to take that little piece of paper that we used a while ago and just rub it really good. See, and I don't have any ink left in this brush. And that's what you want. And I should have done that before I put it away last time, but I didn't. So we're just going to wipe this ink up, you know, and if it's hard to come up, you can put down a little cleaner, some alcohol. But that cleaned up really good, and I have no residue of ink on here. So now I'm going to show you if you have a laminator. If you don't have a laminator, you could do this with an iron. But I've got this bend where my paper was damp and it bent. So I'm just going to take a piece of copy paper, and I keep this over to the side for that reason. And I'm going to lay this in to that piece. I'm going to drop my door on my laminator. And I'm going to bring it over so you can see. And with this piece down, I'm going to just feed it through. And what all that's going to do is heat it and press out that that wrinkle that's in it. Hopefully it'll press out the wrinkle and help set that ink a little bit too. Doesn't take long. It's really a nice little laminator, considering it was very inexpensive. I'm going to do it one more time. I might do it this way. That way it's getting it in both directions. And if you don't have a laminator, I think I picked this one up for under $20 at Walmart. So, and this is a Scotch laminator, and a laminator can be used for so many more things than just laminating pouches. So if you don't have one, that might be something you want to put on your list of things to get. So we're done with that. I'm going to turn it off and fold everything back down. I'll just set it back where I keep it. Alright, so the next thing that I want to do is I'm going to pull my die machine out just a hair, and I'm going to clean my dots off of my magnetic plate because I had cut something earlier for something else I was doing and it left the dots on there, so I just got rid of those. So I am going to grab my tree, and I'm going to position it where I want it to live, and I want it to live up higher because I want to have room down here for grass and a bunny and all sorts of good things. So let's see. I don't think our basket's going to fit on here, but maybe we can have this little bunny popped up out of the grass, or we can do a line of bunnies like this, like a silhouette. That would be cute too. So let's go ahead and get this in our die machine and get this cut, and I'm going to show you what I mean about the little indentation. So I'm just laying it onto my mat, and I'm putting my little cover plate over my die cut, and I'm going to crank this through, and I'm going to bring it back. And let's hope we got a nice little cut on this, and it looks like we did. Look how beautiful that is. Is that not beautiful? It cut it out like that, so you can imagine how pretty this is going to be once we put it onto our green background. So you can see it so much better. But I want my trunk, I want this trunk to be brown. So how do we do that? I have a thinner piece of brown cardstock, and this is kind of a thinner, lightweight, probably a 65-pound cardstock. And I am going to grab that. I'm going to lay my die over here because I don't think we're going to need that anymore, along with my machine. I'm going to lay this on here, about like that. I don't want the flowers or anything like that, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my trimmer, and I'm just going to cut a piece off of here about that wide, and that's going to be about 1.5 inches. And then we're probably going to have to do a little fancy footwork on it to get it to fit exactly where we want it and not interfere with our flowers. So let's see. I think we need it to angle off right here. So we're going to take that little angle right there off, and you might ask, how am I going to do that? I am going to cut it with my scissors. So let's put the trimmer away, and we know we don't want it to come up that high, so I'm just going to take a pencil, if I can find one, and I'm going to draw a line about there, just very faintly so that I can see it. And I'm going to whack that off, and then I'm going to lay this back up here. And we're going to whack a little bit of that off. And see, what I'm trying to do is get a piece that's not going to interfere into my flowers, but will cover this. See, that little flower needs to be cut out, so we're going to go in. And this might be an overkill for some of you. You might say, oh, just let the trunk be the color of the green. But I just kind of sort of wanted it to be a little bit different. Okay, this little piece right here needs to come a little bit more like that. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to stick this down, and then I'm going to go back here and I'm going to trim everything off that I don't need. So what I'm going to do is use a technique, because this is going to be glued down. I am going to grab my tape runner, and I'm just going to put a piece right in the middle, because it doesn't have to be perfect, and it will still give me the ability to lift this up around the edges. So I am going to do this, just like that. And now I know that I can come in and I can cut down at an angle right here. Like I said, this might be too much of an overkill for some of you, but I've always been the type of person, when I want something a certain way, I work it until I get it there. So we're going to cut this off. So that's out of the way. And now we need to cut this off, like that. Just like that. And so you can fold it back once you get it down, and then you can get rid of the places that you don't want it to show. And it's just a snip here and a snip there, and you can trim it out and get rid of where you don't want it to live. And this one, it's going to be a little tricky because that'll work. That goes up into the green, but I think that right there will work. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim this off. And I know this looks really ugly right now, but I promise you, once we get this on our card base, it's going to be gorgeous. And we're going to have that nice brown tree trunk, and everybody's going to wonder, how did you do that? It's paper. We can do anything. Alright, so now we have that where I'm loving the way this looks. I love my green leaves. I'm going to cut my my little tufts of grass. So let's go ahead and get our little scrap. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut two of the longer ones and kind of overlap them. And I think in order to do that, I'm going to cut one this way, and then I'm going to flip it and cut one this way. I think I can do that. I am in the process of looking for some new furniture, because I am working off of a table that's actually one of those utility tables that you buy at Sam's. Just one of those long white top tables, and I have some little cabinets in here that I have a couple little bookcases, a short one and one that's a little taller, and I have a card table over here. My craft room is a mess. I will be perfectly honest with y'all. It is a disaster because I don't have enough of storage to take care of what items I have. So my husband's been wonderful in looking for me some furniture, and hopefully in the next week or two, depending on how long it's going to take to order it, we're going to see what we can get, and we're going to go from there. But I'm really excited for what we have looked for and what we've seen, and I think it's going to be beautiful. So my hopes is to make my room a very soft gray. All of my woodwork and my crown molding is white. And I think the soft gray against the white is going to be beautiful. So I think I might want to do one little thing of grass up around the tree. Let's cut another one. Sorry about that, guys. I was thinking. I actually get silent when I'm thinking. So, y'all know me. That means when I'm talking, I'm not thinking. Oh, goodness gracious. One thing I don't like is the ability to carry my end of the conversation. My husband says I talk too much. And I guess most men would say that. But I've just always been extremely friendly with people. I make friends very easily. And I love being around people. So let's see if we can get that to look good without looking like it's pieced. And I don't know if there's a way to do that. Maybe like that. And I can cut this off. But do I want my grass down here? And have my bunny up in the grass? Let's see which bunny we're going to use. I'm loving this little bunny right here. He looks like he could be coming up out of the ground with his little ears sticking up. Let's lay him down there and see what he's going to look like. And we're going to need to ground this tree a little bit. So let's see if we can sketch a little bit there, and we might come in and color that. But that gives you a little bit of a landing for the tree. I think that looks good. Something like that, just to kind of ground that tree off a little bit. So now I think our grass can go down here so that our bunny can live inside the grass. I'm thinking I need to put that together right about there. So I'm going to use a little art glitter glue, and what I'm going to do is I'll cut this off on each end. But I'm going to put some glue right there, and I'm just going to bring these together like that. Because I really want that to look like seamless grass, and you know, it's not, because let's face it. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, we can always camouflage that, can't we? Put an Easter egg over it. So I kind of want that to come down, but not completely, because I want the edge of the card to show just barely. I think about like that. So I'm going to turn this over, and I'm going to put glue. And if you notice, I'm not putting it onto the grass that's sticking up. I want that to be kind of free range grass. I got this little craft mat that I got from Stampin' Up, and I never use it. I'm going to give this a try because glue is not supposed to stick to this, and you can put your project down without getting glue on your mat and not have to worry. So let's see if it works. Hey, pretty good. And it says that the glue will just roll right off of it, and guess what? It did. I also heard you can do two-sided stamping with this little mat. So we're going to excuse me. We're going to definitely check that out and see if we can do our two-sided stamping. Okay, we got that down, so I'm going to turn it over, and I'm just going to trim this off even with the side of the card, and turn it around and do the same thing on the other side. Now we have our grass down, we have our tree, And we have our card base. And do y'all see the little indentations? I don't know if you're seeing that or not. But these little dots are great for putting stickles or any type of drop on there. So I thought, how fun will that be to put some either stickles. I did do one. Did I save that sample? I just did a card front and gave it a try with this, and this is what I came up with. Look how pretty that is. I don't know if you're seeing the sparkle. I thought that was just gorgeous. So that was my first working this card out. So here we go. We are almost here. We're ready to see if we can work this. So I'm going to get a stamp block, or do I want to do it on my? Yeah, I'm going to get a stamp block because I'm going to do this bunny. Let's do him in white and see how he looks. And I've got this piece of white right here, so I'm just going to stamp him right here. And do I want to do him in? I'm going to do him in versatile. I'm going to use Tombows, I think, to color him. Now this is a new stamp, so I'm not sure how it's going to stamp out, but we'll see. Very pretty. Alright, who was it out there screaming at me saying putting your pen in your glue? I heard you. I always try to listen, I really do. I get carried away sometimes when I'm crafting, and I get so excited over the craft that I'm making that I totally forget, and I lose track of what's going on. I don't know if any of you are like that. I'm moving stuff so that I can get to my Tombows because I want to do a little pink on his ears. And I'm using 723. I want his little nose to be pink. I'm going to make his little cheeks pink. Or her. It might be a her. I'm not going to put a lot of color on this bunny because I want the bunny to be white. So I do think I'm going to do just a little bit right there. A little bit right there. And I think that's all our bunny needs. Maybe the ears might need just a tiny bit more of a lighter shade. So I'm going in with 761. And I'm going to do this part of his ears. Just to give him a little blush. Just like that. And I think that's plenty for our little bunny. And we're just going to cut him out. So let me find my little scissors, but I think before I do that, I am going to cut this off so that we have a smaller piece to work with. We can lay that over here, and let's find the little cutter beads, which are my favorite go-to scissors for fussy cutting. And let's go ahead and cut the bunny out. Now you might ask, how am I going to do the whiskers? We're just going to cut around the whiskers because I don't want to take his whiskers off. So I'm going to leave his whiskers in white, and we're going to come up just like this and go right around the whiskers and right to the other side of the whiskers, and then right on around his head. You know, if you're not into fussy cutting, it's okay. You can do a bubble cut. You could have stamped this on a little circle that you used the punch on and put him in the grass on the circle. So, you know, there's always ways to do a beautiful card without stressing yourself, because crafting shouldn't be stressful. It should be relaxing. This is my zen. This is where I really relax and just create, and I love it. I'll give this a little arm and hand, or should I say paw. I always call my dogs elbows, and that my husband says they're dogs, they don't have elbows. We're humans, we have elbows. I beg to differ. My puppy dogs have elbows, and it's that joint that bends on their leg. So maybe I'm just weird, I don't know. But y'all know how much I love my babies. They are absolutely my little booger messes, and I love them so much. I couldn't imagine my life without them, and I don't want to imagine my life without them. So we've had Bella now for 3 years. We got her March 3 years ago. I posted on Facebook when we first got her. She did not look anything like she does now. She was brown, and she turned into this beautiful champagne color Shih Tzu. So, but she's always been a little character. She has so much personality. And of course, Toby, y'all know I have a very soft spot for my little boy. Toby's my darling. So I'm going to cut around these whiskers just like I did the other set. Just like that. Now, how stinking cute is that bunny going to look with his little paw on top of that grass? Let's see if we can get him down in there like that. He's going to be peeking out of the grass, maybe over on this side. Yep, I love him right there. Is that not adorable? Okay, we're going to go ahead and put this piece down, and I am going to use art glitter glue, and I'll tell you why. I've got a lot of elements back here, and I want to get everything glued as best I can. So I'm going to do a good amount of glue. Just like that, and that does look like an overkill of glue, but it's okay. Now I'm going to lay this down, making sure that I have my little 1/4 inch border, and we're doing this with glue so we have a little bit of wiggle room. Now I am having some glue ooze, but that's okay, because remember we're going to do some stickles over this. But I am going to take my Teflon bone folder, and I am going to just press everything out. Just like this. Just like that. Now I'm going to go back with my black Nuvo marker, and I'm going to use the larger side, and from the back I'm going to go in and just touch up this bunny ear, because I did cut off the black. So if you cut off the black and it looks a little janky, just go in and do this. And there we go, that looks so much better. Alrighty. If anybody's in the market for Nuvo markers, I carry Nuvo in my store, and they are the best alcohol markers ever. I absolutely love mine. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and, do I want to foam him up? Or do I want him just sticking out of the grass? I think I want him sticking out of the grass. But maybe a little foam right there. What do y'all think? I think I want a little foam there. So I am going to grab a small dimensional dot. And I am going to put one right about here. And then I'm going to put glue down on his other little paws. And he's going to be up on one edge like he is. Okay, we are back, and as you can see, we have our card. It's completely glued down. We have put our bunny on a dimension on one side, so he's kind of leaning out from the card, but he's down in the grass, which I think is super cute. And we have the trunk of our tree, which is the nice brown. Now all we need to do, if you see the little dots, I don't know if it's picking them up or not, there's little indentation dots all through here. And this is where we will place our Stickles, or you can use any of the Nuvo drops. So let me grab, and I'm thinking that I just want to do the diamonds. Although this lavender right here would be so pretty, that lavender. Let's see what this looks like. This is the Nuvo glitter. Let's see, exactly what does this say? This is Glitter Accents, adds a luxurious glitter effect to your craft project. So this is pretty much like a Stickles. Let's put one drop down. Now these are self-leveling, so even though it is sitting up now, as it dries it will level out. I think I'm going to go with this. I'm going to use these, and I do have this in my store if you're interested in purchasing it. So that is in my store, as well as the dye. So I'm going to start up here and work my way down. So I'm going to very gently put one drop, one drop, one drop, and I think I'm going to stick with the same color, because I think I'm going to come back and glitter my my leaves, and I think that will really set this tree on fire. I think it's going to be gorgeous. But you can see that it's very easy to put your drops down, and I do have too much on that one, so if you get too much, it's not a big deal. Just grab your one of your little stylus like this and just take off a portion of it. You can just lift that off like that. And just go back and kind of clean up. And you know, once you get all that glitter on there, I don't think anybody's going to notice any boo-boos. But just keep doing this. So I'm going to go off camera and finish this and let it dry completely, and then we'll join back up. Okay, we are back, and our card has dried completely. While I was away, I went ahead and stamped out. I used the egg off of the Mr. Big Ears 2.0, and this is the die right here. I mean the stamp right here. And all I did was stamped it, and I fussy cut it. I colored it first, and then fussy cut it. And the reason I wanted the egg there, I thought it added a little something to make it a little more Eastery, but it also serves to cover the lap where I lapped over the grass turf. So that served two purposes. It gave, like, the bunny's coming up out the grass, he's going to grab the egg, and it also covered that up. So anytime that you are needing to cover something when you are card making, use something decorative and just cover up whatever it is that you're trying to hide. Nobody would be the wiser. So the front of this card is ready. You could put a little banner here or something, and we might do that. I'm not sure yet. That says Happy Easter. But what I wanted to do on the inside is I've cut another piece that is 4 by 5 1/4, and I thought we would put this right here, and then maybe put a piece of white. Let's see. And we would need this white to be 5 by 3 3/4. So let's get out our trimmer. Alright. 3 3/4. So 3 3/4 by 5. I knew something didn't look right when I cut that. I should have known better. But you know that little scrap that I just cut off? These pieces right here will be great. I'll put them into my little white paper collection, and when I need a little piece for a sentiment or something, I will grab, and they will not go to waste. So now what we'll do is we'll mat this on top of this, and this will give us a nice little mat for the inside. And I'm going to go and grab the Mr. Big Ears stamp set. I don't know why I put it away, because I was not done with it. Okay, and this is our little stamp set, and I thought it would be cute. Well, I don't know. I think I'm really loving this bunny in the basket, so I think I'm going to pull him off. And the Happy Easter. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and put this mat down first. I'm going to go ahead and, I think I'm just going to use the OTG for this. Maybe a little piece up the middle. Now I want to put this where it will center right inside here. That looks good. And now let's go ahead and stamp our Easter bunny. And I think I want him to go right here at the bottom of this card, and Happy Easter right up here. I really kind of want Happy Easter here. Yeah, I'm going to rethink this, because I really want the Happy Easter right there on the front of the card. So, I'm going to grab a stamp block. I'm going to move this to the side just for a minute. Go ahead and pick this up. And I really want to try inking it on a piece of a scrap, like maybe something like this. So I'm going to grab my Versatile Onyx Black, and I'm going to tap this quite a bit and hope I get a good, oh yeah, that's beautiful. If you have a good photopolymer stamp, a lot of times you don't have to do any seasoning, but I always check, because I'd rather be safe than sorry, especially on the front of a card that I put this much work in. So I'm going to hold it down like that, and I am going to stamp. I'm just going to hold that in place and make sure all that ink transfers. And there we go. Happy Easter. I love that. For the other piece, I think what I'm going to do is, with the other piece is put it in the Misty, because I want to make sure I get a really good impression on that little basket. So let's grab the small Misty. I don't think we need the big one. And let's go ahead and lay our piece in. I think we can move that out of our way. Now what I want to do first is I'm going to make sure I get this good and in the corner. Just like that. Then I'm going to use my bar magnets just to hold that in place, along with one of these little smaller ones. Now I want Mr. Big Ears, and isn't he adorable in his little basket? And I'm going to stamp it up to the top a little bit, because I really want to have room under here for a signature. And we're going to be doing more Easter cards as the month progresses. But I thought this would be a fun little whimsical type card to do. See, I got that up a little bit too high. Just reposition it. So that's one good thing about this. You can constantly reposition your... But once you get it where you want it, then just always make sure that your paper is back in that far right bottom corner. That way you'll get the same impression every time. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. I think I'm going to do it in the onyx black, and I'll use my Tombow markers to put a little color on this. I don't think we're going to need a lot of color. We'll do a little bit on the basket weave, and a little bit on the bunny with his ears. He is so cute. And I will link all the supplies that I used in the description below, and where you can pick those up. Look at that. That is absolutely stunning, and I didn't have to stamp it once. I could have probably done that with a block, but that's okay. Like I said, I'm going to peel this off and put it on a block so that I can clean it. Just makes it easier to clean them if they're on a block. I'm just going to rub that through my squeaky clean. Okay, that's all cleaned up. Now, if you have not used Squeaky Clean for your stamp cleaner, I have this in my store. I have these small bottles and I also have the refill bottle. You want to grab you some Squeaky Clean. This is Brutus Monroe, and it is absolutely a wonderful stamp cleaner. So now I'm going to grab a brown, maybe something beigey, and I always check my colors before I actually commit to them. So I usually take a scrap piece, and yeah, that's really good. That's about what I wanted. So alright, we're just going to come in here and we're going to do very lightly. I'm going to do the outside edge of the basket a little darker than the middle part. So we're just going to go up across the bottom and the sides and just get that first little amount of color in there. And I might even do right across that part. If you're using Tombow markers and you're having your paper to roll and you're having trouble getting your color down, you're putting too much ink on your paper. And because these are water-based markers, they will wet the paper and cause it to roll, unless you're using something very heavy duty like a watercolor paper, something like that. So if you've been having that problem with your Tombows, that is the reason why. So, you know, just try something a little bit different. Let's see, I used that color, so let's try I think I'm going to do this pretty spring green. I don't know why, but that green just kind of grabbed me. So why not? It's our basket. It can be whatever color we want it to be. And see, I'm just barely flicking some color up through there, just barely touching it. You don't put down a lot of this ink. You just want to go over it very lightly, just barely touching your paper. And you know, you can always let it dry and come back and put some more color. And if you have a heat tool, you can blow it with your heat tool, and that will help it dry faster. I love that. That is so cute. And I'm really pleased with the colors that I chose. I was kind of feeling like maybe that green wouldn't go, but I think I like it. Alright, I'm going to grab a pale pink, and this is a very pale pink, and I'm going to go in. I just want to do the inside of our bunny's ears. Same way, just be very careful not to put down too much color. Now this is totally different if you're using alcohol markers, because they dry immediately. Just remember, if you do use alcohol marker, two things you need to remember is to always put something under your work surface, unless you're working on a glass mat. Put something protective under your surface, because they will bleed through. And always use a hybrid ink, or something like or a dye ink. You do not want to use VersaFine, because that will bleed. So just as a reminder, I want to do its little nose pink and its little cheeks. And I might even just come up and do the paw. Isn't that precious? Now, I didn't do the basket handle, so I am going to go back and grab that same color. I hope this is the same one. Yep. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go right around here and just color in that basket handle. And that's all we're going to do on that little bunny. How cute is he? So for this one, I think, since this is probably still wet a little bit, I'm just going to put down some art glitter glue. Just like that. And there we go. And you could write something in here. If you had a stamp and you wanted to stamp another Easter sentiment, you could do that. But that pretty much completes our little Easter card. I am really thrilled with the way it turned out. I really couldn't be happier. I think that the colors went really well together, and it is a whimsical card. It's not a serious card for Easter, but we will be doing more. So stay tuned. I think the next card we do will be something to the effect that he is risen, because we all know the reason for the season of Easter is not to celebrate the Easter Bunny, but to celebrate Jesus' resurrection, which was all done for us. So as we're entering this this holiday season of Easter, I always think about the sacrifice that Jesus made for us, and I hope that you would do the same thing. Pick up your Bible and read the story of the Easter story of how Jesus, his main purpose for coming to this earth wasn't Christmas. It wasn't the glorious gift that God gave mankind in sacrificing his son. His entire life was for the purpose of Easter, to die on the cross and to live among men and to know what it is to be human and to have our pains and all the things, and we will never go through what he went through. So as you celebrate Easter, think about the wonderful sacrifice and how we can never ever repay him. But what we can do is love one another, love God with all your heart, love your neighbor like you love yourself, and always, always bring glory to him in everything that you do in your life. Let it bring glory to Jesus. He's worthy. And until we craft again, God bless you all. I love you. And until we craft again, I'll see you then. Bye-bye.